Wait, but it says show how you make a 10.
Right. So you're going to use the white circles to fill in the 10 frame.
So what are they asking?
Right. Because you just said it's 13, but you're saying make a 10.
Right.
So
Just show how you make a 10. Just draw 10. 10. What are you?
I don't get it. That's first grade math of our producer Melissa Perez's kid that we all tried to figure out, and as you see, it not going so hot. Hello, everyone.
I feel so vindicated. Yeah, so vindicated because this is me like going, because Henry's now in 5th grade. So 5th grade, we've got it's like college level. I'm like, oh my God, every day.
I mean, I can't figure out actual math like with numbers. So then you're going to add circles into the mix, and it's supposed to be 10, but it's 13. I was lost.
I hear it makes them all smarter and more analytical, and they're better thinkers because they can see things, and then it all makes sense. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of parents out there struggling with the same thing. But welcome to the Jam, everyone. Brandon in for Felicia. And speaking of parents and school and math, it was a big day for CPS with tens of thousands of students returning to the classrooms, mainly kindergarten through 5th grade. The 6th through 8th graders don't start until next week. But Mayor Lightfoot speaking today outside of a Lakeview school.
This is exactly what we fought for. This is the moment that we knew would be possible and important in the lives of our young people and our students. And that's why this giving parents an option to come back in person for their students is so important.
A lot of people even criticizing the mayor for where she chose Hawthorne Academy, which is right over there, pretty much across a couple buildings from me. A lot of people saying, Hawthorne, they say 55% of the students say they're going to come back versus 30% CPS wide. Hawthorne Academy is 52% white versus the entire district, which is 11% white. And the mayor kind of dunking on this first day from that school as her choice of where to go.
I'm really curious to see the differences between some of the suburban school districts and the city school districts, because some suburban districts went back quite a while ago. Some of them way longer ago. My niece has been in school in-person learning since the beginning of the year. So what's the difference? Is it the cleanliness? Is it the vaccination? Is it the technology? Because I would think the technology would want to push them back to school. So I don't understand where the discord is between CPS and Chicago Public Schools when the suburban schools have been able to do it.
It was interesting. Lightfoot was quoted today as describing the excitement that kids had to get back in school and parents had as infectious. Probably not the best word choice because we are dealing with a global pandemic. I'm sure it is true, though. These kids were excited to be able to see their friends again, right? And to meet new kids and things like that. And that is a part the debate with socialization, right? I mean, we're missing that for a lot of these young kids. So getting back in the classroom is crucial for them.
Well, sorry, John, it's not even normalization of this. It's not even the socialization. It's the way they learn. Most kids learn better with a teacher-student dynamic. This on the electronics is not the best way for kids to learn. So they're not learning enough too.
Yeah, I'm glad they're back in school. I know this was a huge fight that CPS and CTU went through for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we talked about it. I just wonder, how long is it going to be until we really see what the full effect of this is, right? Is it going to be school starting next year and we realize, oh my goodness, these kids are so far behind?
Here's what I think, John. So a lot of the kids do standardized testing, and it's different in different schools. But I think the standardized testing is going to play out where it's going to explain where kids should be and where they actually are. Some kids have actually done really well in the pandemic, and staying home has been a good thing for them. They've learned differently. For other students, it's been detrimental. And I think that they're going to learn when they take those standardized testing another year from now, not now, another year from now when we're back kind of normal, it'll be different.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, guys, another story that people are talking about, New York Governor Cuomo, one of the women accusing New York Governor Andrew Cuomo of sexual harassment is actually trashing the apology he gave over the weekend. He issued a public apology on Sunday saying his interactions with women in the workplace may have been insensitive or too personal, but he maintained that he's never inappropriately touched anybody. However, Charlotte Bennett, she says it wasn't genuine and compared the apology to the manipulative tactics tactics and victim blaming used by repeat offenders. Bennett is one of 2 former aides accusing Cuomo of unwanted advances, including kissing without consent. So far, New York's Attorney General, she's launching an independent investigation into the allegations, and many lawmakers and New York officials are also calling for the resignation of Governor Cuomo if these allegations are corroborated. I actually saw today New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio blasting Cuomo and going very hard at him, saying that this is impeachment worthy for him as governor. So it's interesting seeing how we've seen the memes and the adoration for Governor Cuomo early in the pandemic. Now you see this come to light, and you're seeing more and more stories come to light, not just from these 2 aides, but also from journalists in the press corps and people that have worked around Governor Cuomo for years about this culture of intimidation, a culture that's toxic. So there's a lot to unpack here. It's going to be interesting to see what comes to light as we go forward.
Yeah, de Blasio and Cuomo hate each other, so I'm not at all surprised by that remark by de Blasio. Play this out to the end. We know where this is going. When Democrats do something like this, usually Democrats hold their leaders to the fire until they resign. Al Franken, there was no kissing accusation. Oh, there was. It was when the woman was sleeping on the military base. So there was a similar sort of thing. Inappropriate actions, some light, not that it's appropriate, but you know what I'm talking about. And Al Franken was forced to resign. Many people think that that was a mistake. But play this to the end. This is what's going to happen. I think the sooner that he does it, the better. We all know the way this ends.
Yeah, and I'm still, to this day, dumbfounded. I mean, I get in the era he grew up in, his career, things were a little bit different, and he would have been able to get away with some of this. But what he is doing, he is talking to women who are way younger than them. They are woke, for lack of a better term, and they are like, whoa, pump the brakes. What are you doing? And I can't believe he can't see the difference. That's where I'm like dumbfounded by. Do you not understand that you are talking to young women who come up in a completely different generation? This is not Mad Men, as we talked about before the show. This is the real world. And he seems to be trying to get away with some sort of Mad Men-esque like lifestyle that we don't live anymore.
Do you think it's forgivable, Amy? If what we know is true, and it's kissing in one, maybe a kiss, maybe more forceful than it should have been, and some remarks. Is that forgivable in your eyes?
I do think it can be forgivable. And it depends on the person and the way it's received. If we're not talking about sexual intercourse or rape or like sexual misconduct, some a little bit more severe terms, I do think there are ways to take this situation and turn it into a teaching moment for this person and a lot of other people. And hopefully that's the way it goes. We'll see.
I appreciate your perspective on that. Yeah.
Hey guys, if you think you've got what it takes to make it in music, now you can test your pipes on social media. At least some of you can.
Hey you, are you a fan of rap and want to show your skills off so people can react? If you said the word yes when you answered back, then let me tell you about this brand new app. It's called Bars.
Yeah, Facebook just dropped a beta version of the app, which allows hopeful rappers to create and share their vocabulary using professional beats. But before you go and download it, just know it's currently only available on the Apple App Store. By the way, I did look up that word vocabulary to make sure that I was using it correctly.
I think you did it right. I think you did.
Thank you.
Also, take note that when you sign up for the app, there's a wait list to get onto it because it's beta. So we haven't been able to use the app yet. I'm still hoping I can get on because this is right up my alley. Okay, I've always had dreams way back in my head of dropping a mixtape or two, becoming a rap star, from freestyling with friends over at the lunch table to now. You still kind of have that in the back of your head. So I'd like to think, I think we all would like to think with those little dreams that we could possibly do that.
Do you have stuff written down, Brandon? Do you have stuff to put out there, like your own original content?
I have beats that I could use and stuff like that if I needed to put something together.
This is lyrics. The lyrics have to be original. They will give you the beats.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I got lyrics.
I can hear it.
Off the dome. It's all up here, yeah.
Prove it.
Nice.
Prove it. Freestyle right now.
Come on. Yeah, go.
Oh boy. How did I know this is gonna happen? Here we are on the Jam TV. John Hanson and Amy. Yeah, we got the flow like Mojo. Hey, JoJo, you go. That's all I got so far.
Oh,
We're
that
gonna
was
work
pretty
on the
good.
rhetoric.
On the spot. I
yeah.
will give you props for that, Brandon. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that
Thank
was
you.
really good stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll need to get
Our
the
producer,
after more.
meanwhile, begging us not to rap.
Stop him. Stop him now.
Okay, guys. Well, today marks the start of Women's History Month, and we are honoring one local trailblazer who broke barriers nationwide. That's coming up after the break.
All right, welcome back. Here's some news you need to know. St. Sabina plans to withhold about $100,000 in monthly assessments until the investigation into Michael Flager is closed.
Hey, Chicago is expected to receive doses of the new Johnson & Johnson single-shot vaccine this week.
And the Biden administration announces they will allow hundreds of migrant families separated at the border by the Trump administration to reunite in the United States, and they may be able to stay. John Hanson.
Yeah, let's talk about your forecast here. The warming trend. Today was kind of the cool day of the week. From here on out, we're going to be in the mid 40s or a little bit beyond that Wednesday before a little bit cooler Thursday. The forecast sponsored by 3 Day Blinds. You will love the treatment. All right, we are kicking off Women's History Month talking about a true Chicago legend. Dori Wilson was the first African-American woman to model in some of Chicago's stores. She opened her own public relations firm, and last month she passed away unexpectedly. Joining us today, her longtime friend, Paul Dykstra. And Paul, Dori, she knew everyone. She worked with everyone in the city of Chicago and beyond.
Couldn't be truer. She absolutely was with everybody. She knew everybody. Everybody loved her. She was a lot of fun to be with. We had a lot of fun time partying together. She was a brilliant counsel for our clients. And Dori loved this city through and through. She really did.
I knew Dori as a PR person, right? And at the beauty show, which I know you're such a big part of as well. I'll never forget her telling me and teaching me how to walk the runway, not knowing her backstory. And it's like, she's like an onion. You peel away another layer, you learn something else about her.
So well said. As a matter of fact, the way that she got into modeling even was a little on the side because she was very interested at the time. She was working with Compton's. It was an advertising agency, and she loved to do the production stuff about fashion shows. And while she was at a shoot, someone said, why don't you ever consider modeling? And she actually said, okay, but do I have what it takes? Nobody was considering Black women at that time for modeling. And Dori always commented to us that she was a dark-skinned Black woman, and that even made her situation that much more that she wasn't really she was kind of in rarefied air, if you will. But Dori, I got the opportunity one time when there was a later runway show that was done at the Chicago Hilton, and Dori and a bunch of her friends from that era took the stage. And I'll tell you what, when Dori Wilson walked that runway, there was nobody in the room that could do anything but stare at her. She was simply stunning and had the kind of presence that the world famous models like she was had. She really did.
Talking about opening up a PR agency, I know she said in the past that she didn't really see herself as a trailblazer, that her attitude was just go in there and get the job done.
Yeah, and what was so amazing about Dori is that she had so many relationships in the city. She knew the socialites. She knew the people that probably were in politics. She knew the people that were running the beauty salons. She knew the people that were making the fashions. And so for a client like we were, anytime that we needed to do a fashion show at the beauty show, Dori was the one we would turn to, and she could do an absolutely brilliant job for us, which was what was so amazing about what she did and who she was.
She cared about a lot of different causes, and friends like you are making sure that people can continue to carry on her legacy in a way that'll benefit a lot of the places that she loved dearly.
Yeah, John, what's really important is to remember that, Dori was on the board of regents for Loyola. She was on the Chicago International Film Festival board. I remember one of the things that she just loved with her whole heart was when she was on the board of the Harris Theater and helped raise the funds for this beautiful venue that we have for the arts and every other kind of stage production for dance in the city. We didn't have that kind of venue, and Dori's efforts really made a huge difference for that. And I remember what she first introduced me to was when she was working with La Rabida on the Children's Hospital there. And, she never stopped. She just loved being on every one of those committees and worked really, really hard to make sure it was successful.
Paul, I barely knew her, worked with her through media, met her at a couple events here and there. I'm so jealous that you got to be a friend of hers. It must have been such a joy.
Oh, it was unbelievable. As a matter of fact, my spouse and I were talking just the other night. Dori lived only a few blocks from us on the north side. And it was, Dori, I made a pot roast. Can you come down and we'll have dinner, and then we'll sit and watch TV. And then Dori would go home. We'd make sure she always got home. But she called me my Paulie. And we would take our little Paul and Dori drives, and she showed me every part of the South Side that I would have never gotten a chance to know. And of course, the biggest part of it was she introduced me to brown sugar, which probably added a couple more pounds onto me than I should have. But we had a blast going down there. And the part that we loved the most, though, is as we'd come back north on Lakeshore Drive, both of us would sit there and we would comment on the fact, oh my goodness, don't we live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world? And Dori never stopped saying that, John. And I was telling Rudy earlier, I have to be very honest. The city seems empty to me now. There's a light that went out with Dori, and now it's our job to take over and make sure that what she did, and through her foundation, we really hope that we can honor her legacy.
Well said, Paul. I'm sorry for the loss of your friend, and I know Chicago mourns her too. Thanks for joining us. Let's get the information up on the screen where you can find on how you can help all the causes that Dori loved, DoriWilsonFoundation.org. Brandon.
And many Chicagoans are also mourning the loss of a dear friend of the show, comedian and writer, producer, and director, Erica Watson. She died this weekend in Jamaica from complications with COVID-19. Erica, she was a loving, energetic, fun-loving woman, and she leaves us with a lasting legacy, no doubt.
And look at you got your tank top on, I'm wearing a turtleneck.
I'm freezing my butt off. Yeah.
Yes, my hair is flying down. I got my golden. Everyone that sees me says, "Oh, Erica, you're glowing." When I write people back home, or I put stuff up on Facebook.
You've clearly been on the hustle. You've been on the grind.
Baby, I have been working. They say that in order to be rich, you have to have multiple streams of income. So I'm doing that.
You're the host for the festivities.
Absolutely.
You always wear your curves so beautiful and proud, so
Yes,
you're the
I
perfect
do.
person. Hey.
Yes, thank you. And that's what I don't. I like the VMAs to be edgy and forward thinking and innovative. Non-twerking has been my birth control as well. I thought it was the pills, but no, I don't twerk. Like usually men are lacking in something if they have to have these big old bags. Like why, if your bag is bigger than your bag, then I mean, something should be open in a relationship. Boom, boom. I won't say what. You are family style, Southern cuisine.
Yes.
It looks heavenly, but it also looks kind of sinful, baby. This is like, I have a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, and they're both wanting some food. If you can't dream when you're little, when can you dream? That is the time to just think you can be everything. I just hope they keep the diversity. Having the open contributor gave opportunities for a lot of African American women, women of color.
We're gonna live through and I love y'all, and I miss you all. Thank you.
Miss you too.
We
miss you.
Oh God, it's so hard to see that. We, just really recently talked to Erica. She's living in Jamaica. She had met someone. She was super happy. He was cooking for her. She's like, they were getting healthy. She's like, we're walking, we're exercising, we're eating right. She's getting healthy. She's writing a ton. She was on point and she was zoned in. And she was in a really good space in her life. And she's just such a joy. She brings so much light to every conversation that someone has with her. I was really sad.
Yeah, this one hurts. This one hurts. Yeah. She was a kind soul. She was a warm person. She gave great hugs. Wear your mask. COVID sucks.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved most about Erica was how she poured into people. She was always using the time she had to pour into others and help serve others and advance her community. I'm part of NEBJ Chicago, the executive board, and she was a big advocate in trying to push the cause for media diversity, for inclusion. Anytime we needed any help, and even if we didn't call on her for help, she was always there to provide it. And so to have someone like that and to lose them in this city to this disease that's killed so many, it's infuriating, it's saddening, but I know she's up there smiling, roasting somebody else that she probably knows up there, and her legacy now is for us to smile and enjoy the laughs that she gave us. So thank you, Erica. Really appreciate you.
We'll miss you. We'll miss you.
At this desk, we're going to curate all kinds of stories for you.
And you have some pretty awesome guests coming on the show this week.
We've got Chloe Grace Moretz, who I love so much, and Isla Fisher, and Leslie Mann. I'm so excited because soon on the show coming up, we have Eddie Murphy who's coming here. I'm so excited. And that was just like a dream of mine, and it's getting realized. And just a really great amount of human interest stories. You know, people you might not know their names, but I think that these human interest stories, these people out there who are doing really small, big, and everything in between things, that I love talking to them. And I learned so much doing this job, and I am a sponge. And when I hear people's stories and what they're doing in the world, it is so life-affirming to me.
Hey, to see those guests and much more, watch the Drew Barrymore Show next week. Weeknights at 9 on our sister station, CW26. Watch them every night. We'll be right back.
All right, we got something pretty cool for you tomorrow on the show. The stars of Superman and Lois himself, Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulek. You don't want to miss it on The Jam. We'll be right back.
It's a good show. It's a good show. I like this one.
It is really good.
Different take.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Jam. Brandon Pope is in for Miss Felicia Lawrence. Amy Rutledge and her moving shoulders are there in the middle. I'm John Hanson. By the way, if you ever see Brandon Pope staring off into the distance, even though it's his turn to talk, it's because he's having a little technical difficulty and can't hear us as well. But I have a sign, Brandon,
Good
just in case
idea.
you don't talk. If we need you, it'll be a big. I'll just start knocking your head with it. Okay. All right, but
Perfect.
not now.
Also,
okay?
can you get like a flashing light or something too? Give me some.
I'll do
some
this.
visuals that really blink
I'll do
at me.
this. I'll do this,
I don't
and
know.
he'll
Is
do
that
that.
Maybe
working? I'm just
advanced?
moving one of my lights. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be the signal for a very smooth show, I'm sure. Let's start with a little ham bones history nuggets today. Kazimierz Pulaski Day, and I know this is the day where a lot of people go, "Who the heck is Kazimierz Pulaski?" Not Polish people, they all know, because he was a Revolutionary War hero, really, but he was born in Poland. So he's an American Revolutionary hero, but he's born in Poland. How does this happen? Well, he was a real Polish hero, a general, led the cavalry, and he was exiled from Poland. And then he went to Prussia, and he couldn't find any work there. So he ended up in France, where he met up with Lafayette and Benjamin Franklin, and they recruited him to fight in America, which he did very bravely. He took over a cavalry that did nothing, basically, had no horses, and George Washington tasked him with leading it, and he did, and then he was killed in battle, which that's a bummer way to end the story. But Chicago has a huge Polish population of people descended from Poland, so that's why we celebrate it. He never came to Chicago. It has nothing to do with Chicago, but we celebrate it because of our roots with Poland.
Dziękuję. That's
Dziękuję?
Polish.
What?
Dziękuję. It's Polish for thank you.
Are you Polish?
Nope, but my brother's wife is Polish, and so she's taught me a little bit of Polish. So we try to pay attention as much as we can. It's funny, every time this holiday comes up, I'm always like, wait, what? Johnny is in.
Love it. Just throw that side in there whenever you can.
That's not fair. That's not how that's supposed to be used.
I love it. I love it. Oh boy, I just appreciate John being able to give that history nugget there, because without it, I would not know about it. So thank you, John, for keeping us educated.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like you're like Mr. Rogers in that sense. Gotta love
sure.
it. All right, guys. So it looks like Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to be spilling all the tea in their interview with Oprah Winfrey. CBS released a clip with Prince Harry defending the couple's decision to step down as working royals, comparing their experience with the press to that of his late mother, Princess Diana.
I'm just really relieved and happy to be sitting here talking to you with my wife by my side, because I can't begin to imagine what it must have been like for her going through this process by herself all those years ago, because it has been unbelievably tough for the two of us, but at least we had each other.
That primetime interview with Meghan and Harry is airing this Sunday. Sure to be emotional and probably engaging if you care about the royals and the things around it.
Sounded like they had John Williams do the score for that trailer. That was pretty dramatic music
Attenborough.
underneath that. But yes, exactly. I respect their decision. Like the stuff that Meghan went through versus the stuff that Kate went through alone is enough for them to want to like scurry away. And I appreciate that they did like a clean break, right? Like I think they had some momentary where they're kind of off the cliff, not really. And you know what? They're doing it. They committed to it. He was a young boy when his mother was taken far too soon at the hands of the press. Can't blame him at all.
Yeah, I 100% like. Listen, 95% of the time when stories of the royals come up, I'm like, ugh. But I am fascinated by this. I will watch the interview because I 100% agree. The life that these poor kids have gone through because of who their parents are, and then what happened to their mother, has got to be so traumatic and tragic for them. I don't know how they've been able to live normal lives beyond that. So the fact that these two were able to cut ties and be like, peace out, I need a life that has not involved all of this, I actually have some more respect for them and a little bit more interest because that they did that.
For sure.
Yeah, being in the public eye, I mean, it's not always cracked up to be. And oftentimes you hear people that are in the public eye express frustrations with, a predatory paparazzi press and things like that. And that's a big reason why Harry was kind of disenchanted by everything that came with being part of the royal family. So it's going to be interesting to see how Oprah's able to get them to kind of open that up there. She's great at these interviews. She's great at letting people feel comfortable, and they tend to just kind of spill all. So I'll be checking it out as well because it's in the news. It's interesting. And they have a lot to say for sure.
And you get it because every time you walk down Wells Street, the paparazzi is all over you, Pope. So I mean,
no pictures, no pictures. Yes, especially when I don't have the makeup done.
Take more.
Yeah.
Don't have the makeup done. The hair is messed up. Haven't had a haircut. That's when they find me. Always the worst moments.
Well, if you didn't know, guys, it is Dr. Seuss week for a lot of schools. A Virginia public school district actually is pulling Dr. Seuss from tomorrow's annual Read Across America Day. The books are not banned, but school officials cite strong racial undertones and a desire to get kids reading books that are inclusive, diversive, and reflective on this big day to celebrate reading. Now, keep this in mind. Read Across America Day started in 1998. It is every March 2nd to coincide with Dr. Seuss's birthday. So I forgot about all this controversy that came up in the last few years about some of his very, very early cartoons and stuff. A lot of for the newspaper that were not good. 100% agree with that. And then this week is at my kids' school. It's Dr. Seuss Day. I have my Mr. Brown Can Moo, Can You? Because I read that to the class today virtually. And I have little kids. These are great books. Most of the books are like 50, 60 words or less and like 3-word letters. So it's great for a reading tool. But in terms of inclusivity, you're talking about a bigger school district. I totally get it.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to get kids to be exposed to other authors who come from diverse backgrounds and have different views of the world. This is a tough thing because Dr. Seuss books themselves are cute, innocent. When I was reading Dr. Seuss books, I didn't know the dude was a flaming racist. I don't think any kid does, and it doesn't seep through the Grinch or Cat in the Hat, anything like that. But in times like this, we do need to be careful of who we celebrate. I mean, I looked at some of the cartoons that Kevin questioned that he did for these newspapers. Yeah, it's terrible.
No good.
Like there's no
good.
There's no wiggle room about where he stood. So I applaud the move. I just, it sucks for kids because The Grinch is a great Christmas tale. Cat in the Hat is fun, but you got to expand where we get these,
These characters, you're talking about little kids. Like my kids are 3. Like these are colorful characters. There is no race. There is no gender. It's about rhyming small words that they can learn how to pronounce. Wonderful. You're talking about older kids. I 100% agree. Like, let's get these kids into more diverse language. And like Brandon said, I saw the cartoons. I was like, really? This guy had to do that? Really?
Oh, a Lorax couldn't find his way out of that racist forest. Trust me.
No.
But I think look, I don't think you got to cancel all his books or anything like that, like you're saying. Great books. But I think Brandon brought up a really good idea. It's that there are other children's authors out there of color who have done great things. Why don't you take this opportunity to represent more artists and more authors that could provide some awesome things? So,
yes.
Okay, there is a new gantrapreneur in Hollywood.
Hi, I'm Seth Rogen, and if you know anything about me at all, I'm going to assume it's that I really love weed. But what you probably don't know about me is that I have been working on my own weed company for the last 10 years, and we are finally ready to launch in America.
Oh boy, actor Seth Rogen lighting up social media, announcing his cannabis and lifestyle company called Houseplant. He has always claimed to be like this weed evangelist, and he's been working on the project again for 10 years. It will also sell home goods like ashtrays, ceramics. They'll be named after weather systems like Pineapple Express, which of course is a movie, but it's also a meteorological event that happens. So that's kind of cool. Poper, what do you think?
I mean, I guess it's a no-brainer for him, right? I mean, that is, he said it himself. When you think Seth Rogen, one of the first things you think of is that movie Pineapple Express and his affinity for marijuana. It's a lucrative business. I would love to see him kind of use some of this clout he's built with the cannabis industry to expand the game a little bit and get more people into it. Hopefully, maybe he does that through his hiring practices. But hey, I say this is the perfect guy to get something like this growing. I'm kind of shocked it took this long, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, and what I really enjoyed in that Instagram post too is he's got his houseplant brand, and they're in tea tins. Like, you don't think about it that way for people who are, like against marijuana, whatever it is. And I'm not one of those people, but it's a plant. We drink tea. It's kind of like, what's the difference? It's just happens to have a different effect on you than, say, caffeine, but which is still something that's found in tea, right? So I find that really interesting, and how I am about health and science. So I really enjoy that, and I'm curious to see what else he's doing with it. Because obviously, too, looking at that Instagram post, he's lost a ton of weight. He looks really healthy right now.
How on brand, though, for a weed company to take 10 years to get started? I mean, come on.
Was there a lot of frozen pizza involved, John Hanson, do you think?
I don't know.
Or
I don't know. Am
cooked
I
frozen
stereotyping?
pizza?
Probably. Yes,
let's be honest.
exactly.
Oh, boy. All right, guys. Coming up next, golf goes red for Tiger. We're going to have his response, plus spring training got off to an awkward start for the Yankees. Sports and news that you need to know right after the break. All right, let's talk some sports. So new tonight, NBA center and former Bulls star Joakim Noah is planning to retire, and apparently he wants to do it with the Chicago Bulls. The 36-year-old, he spent the first 9 of his 13 seasons with the Bulls. So, I mean, when people think about those, Derrick Rose teams that went to the playoffs, Joakim Noah, that was your defensive guy right there.
Am I the only one that says Joakim Noah? You say Joakim Noah?
Is it Joakim? I feel
it's
like
Joakim.
It's
Sorry. No.
Is it Joakim?
I feel like announcers have said it many different ways. I know him as Joakim Noah. I wasn't trying to throw you under the bus, Brandon. I was legitimately like,
well,
how would I know?
Part of it is I personally, as a Cleveland Cavaliers fan and LeBron James fan, don't like this Noah kid at all. And as an Ohio State fan, he was terrible in college as a person. He was dismissive as a pro to the people of Ohio and LeBron James, and he got bounced in the playoffs. So I was happy to see it. So,
So you're going to say his name wrong, Brandon? You're going to say the name wrong just because you don't like the kid?
Pretty much. Yeah. He's that Noah kid.
I like when the ref comes in the form of Amy and does it. Okay, Tiger Woods says he was very touched, very moved by fellow golfers, essentially paying tribute to him, but wishing him well. They were all wearing his signature Sunday red on the course. Not all of them, but a lot of them, as many as they could. Phil Mickelson was too. I thought that was pretty cool, Brandon.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Tiger hasn't always gotten the most adoration from others in the sport, right? Which, I mean, I guess you wouldn't expect that since they're getting beat by him most of the time. They're not going to be too happy about that. So it's good to see the gesture there because really, when you think about Tiger Woods and his impact, he elevated the sport. I mean, it's now on TV the way it is because of the way he dominated the game.
They all make a lot of money because of Tiger Woods. I think that's first and foremost. But I know that he's like really connected with that next generation of golfers. Like some of his peers, there's a little bit more infighting from what happened, from 20 years ago. But the new generation of 20-somethings really look up to Tiger, and cool moment on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Another big sports story today. People have been waiting to find out just where former NFL Defensive Player of the Year J.J. Watt was going to take his talents. Turns out he decided to break the news himself on Twitter. He said the source was himself. He was wearing an Arizona Cardinals t-shirt, reportedly a 2-year deal worth $30 million to go to the Arizona Cardinals, who also have another former Houston Texans teammate, DeAndre Hopkins. And the Houston Texans, they have Deshaun Watson who wants to leave. So just a bad time for the Texans right now, seeing all your guys leave.
I just source me. I think that's great. There's so many rumors that always fly around with these things. It's like, you know what? I'm just going to be the source. Here's what's happening. I'm going to the Arizona Cardinals. And I'm happy because some Packers fans thought that he was going there, and he ain't. And that's really good news for the Bears.
That's a win.
Okay. Are you a booer, Brandon? You ever boo bad players? Do you boo other teams?
When I was younger, in my youth.
You were a booer. I bet you always booed the right people, though, right? Because the New York Yankees fans were booing the wrong guy. Wrong guy, and they're gay. Scratch that. They hurled jeers at a Blue Jays player named Lourdes Gurriel, and they thought that he was his brother, Yuli Gurriel, who played with the Astros when they were cheating their way through the World Series in 2017. Everyone can just boo me right now. I can't believe I
Stop talking. Stop talking.
Boo.
No, I'll go. I'm gonna go.
Go,
Roll
Amy.
the
Go,
animation.
Amy.
Boo. Easy mistake.
All right. News you need to know. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy was sentenced to 3 years in prison for corruption and influence peddling. He actually won't be going behind bars. The judge suspended 2 years. The third will be home monitoring. With massive mail delays hitting Chicago, Senator Dick Durbin is calling for Postmaster General Louis DeJoy to step down. An investigation found 19,000 pieces of undelivered mail that didn't make it to the correct offices. And Donald Trump may have lost the election, but he won the straw poll at the Conservative Political Action Conference. 68% want him to run again. 95% only want to advance his policies. John.
Okay, on that news, 7-day forecast. Here we go. We're going to get up to 50 tomorrow, Wednesday. Tomorrow we'll still be in the mid-40s. Then a little cool down, but right back up. And everybody, look at Monday. No booing Monday. Next week, we are looking to hit 60 degrees. Very spring-like. This forecast brought to you by 3-Day Blinds. You'll love the treatment. Give and go. Back to you, Amy.
All month long, we are celebrating the strong women who get stuff done. Coming up, the Queen, Debbie Allen, shares how women are changing the entertainment world. Stick around. If you are cleaning out your closet for spring, make sure to drop off your gently worn or new business attire at Chicagoland CD1 price stores from now through March 31st. We have partnered with them and Kara Chicago to provide professional clothing to those in need. You can find more details at cw26chicago.com.
I can't do this. Yeah, you can.
You have all these women of power in this show. Is that something that you've always set out to do? Because nobody's taking any prisoners with any of these female doctors. They are headstrong but smart and determined. It's such great role models.
Shonda Rhimes created something that the world needed to feast on, and they have for 17 years. This has been the #1 drama on ABC, 17 years and counting.
Wow.
And yes, women, it's a time. You know, when she made me executive producing director, one of the first mandates I gave myself was to hire 50% women. This was before Me Too or any of that. I knew as a woman in the opportunities that I didn't have, that women were talented and needed their opportunities. So I found so many wonderful women that are now out here doing so many big things, I can't even get them anymore. But yeah, it's wonderful to have a company that has so many women that are so capable and creative and right for what they do. It's great.
Speaking of women, I've got to get your reaction. Our first female VP, a woman of color. How did you feel once the election results were out?
I felt so inspired by the win of both of them, because we need something else right now. And together, I mean, it's like salt and pepper.
Yeah.
What meal is good without it? It's the best thing that's happened for all of us in a long time. And hopefully they will bring us back together as a nation. And Kamala Harris is brilliant and beautiful. And she's a Howard alum. Yay!
Yes. Well, to keep up with all things Debbie Allen, follow her on social media. I'm going to have more from my interview with Debbie Allen tomorrow. Stay with us. Hot Take coming up after the break.
All right, we're getting this week off to a hot start with trending hot takes. Okay, NFL Network host Jane Slater, she started this little Twitter feud because she says she posted an opportunity for an unpaid internship, and she says she got so much blowback about an unpaid internship. But she says, look, I did a bunch of them when I was in school, and I fought my way up to the top, blah, 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 blah. But she's like amazed that people are upset by this. So, unpaid internships, cool or not cool? Brandon Pope.
They're not cool. I mean, I thought we settled this in 2015. You shouldn't have to struggle for access to experience. And just because you did in the past doesn't make it right. It doesn't mean other people should have to either.
Well, I will say I look at internships as an extension of school. It's part of school. It is an education. Nobody pays you to go to school. You pay to go to school. So usually you take internships and you work a part-time job, and it opens the door to a lot of opportunities and you meet a lot of people. So,
Oh, man. See, normally I don't chime in hot takes, but I'm going to. What the hey? I think that unpaid internships continue to bridge the divide between privileged people that can do it for free, that can support themselves without it for whatever reason, and people that don't have those opportunities. At the same time, if I'm someone and all these people say I'm not doing an unpaid internship, what an opportunity for someone to jump in and take advantage of the system as best they can.
Yes, but I also didn't say I didn't say not supporting yourself. I'm saying if you work part-time as you have an unpaid internship and then you work on a part-time job to bridge the gap, because that's what a lot of people have to do, or you work multiple jobs. I had to work multiple jobs when I was in college to pay for college. So what's the difference with an internship?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good debate. We'll get into more of it later. Let's get to at least one more story. Fisher-Price is launching a work-from-home playset to mimic a home office for kids. Some call it bleak. Amy, you buying it for the kids?
Suck it up, kids. Life is tough.
I say it's time to expose kids to the real world. As long as this includes a pair of sweats you wear all the time and some empty whiskey bottles around, I'm all for it. Make it realistic.
There you go. I'm giving Brandon Pope the point on there. And we don't get to go to the story about the beer bong for the child with baby formula. We missed that one.
By the way, it's crazy. It doesn't work. Let me explain that to you, because the nipple controls the flow of formula. And so it's really unrealistic. He did it for the gram and TikTok. That's all.
Great hot take. Stupid.